A great man once said that he who fails to plan plans to fail. The saying is true because planning helps you to be ready for the predictable future and also wary of possible failures that you may be faced with in future. A student who is preparing for a school examination needs to plan. He gets the number of subjects that he will be writing and also the amount of time he will need to cover a subject. He may even go ahead to find the subjects that pose the greatest difficulty to him. Then, he devises a timetable that will enable him in planning how to prepare for the exams. Manufacturing companies also need to plan how to channel their resources so as to maximize profits. In this lesson, we will be exploring a field of math that helps us make plans to maximize limited resources and profits. It also helps us minimize losses. A tool that helps planning in math is called linear programming. Linear programming is a type of mathematical programming that helps to optimize a mathematical design or model whose constraints or requirements are linear inequalities. In linear programming, constraints or restrictions are used to maximize or minimize an objective function. The objective function is the mathematical model or equation which is being optimized, while the constraints are the limitations or restrictions due to the limited resources, and they are usually written as inequalities. The constraints are used, as we have said earlier, to maximize or minimize the objective function. For the case of the student planning for his exams, the constraint may be the number of hours he can assign to a particular subject, and his objective function is how to maximize the limited time he has to prepare for his exams. Normally, when we are posed with a problem, we express the problem in form of a mathematical equation, which is the objective function. Next, we write the constraints as linear inequalities. Then, we plot the constraints on the Cartesian plane. Now, the region bounded by the constraints is the region of solution, otherwise known as the region of feasibility. This region is where the objective function can be optimized. You may be wondering what this is all about. It may be confusing how mathematical equations will enable us and even big companies to plan for the future. I enjoin you to stick around as we will be using some real-life situations to illustrate linear programming in a more comprehensive light. I'm sure you now know that linear programming is a type of mathematical programming that helps to optimize a mathematical model whose constraints are linear inequalities.